Okay. This one would be here. Okay, I want to a little bit discuss the documentary that we saw. What was the name of the documentary?
What the Bleep We know.
What the Bleep We know. And Romarita had, she's curious. She's a curious cat. And go ahead. I want you, for the record, share with us what you learned about that movie.
As I said, is that movie was like a big commercial for a cult that has existed since the 70s and was created by a woman called Jeezy Knight, the woman that was in the movie, the blonde woman with the red coat. She seemed to be pretty...
She was the most kind of talkative, very elegant hand.
She's the cult leader, and she believes she incorporates a man that lived 35,000 years ago.
Really?
He was a warrior in Atlantis, the lost continent. It's a mythical continent.
We have reincarnation, we have Atlantis, and then?
Yeah, so that, and she uses quantum mechanics to support her beliefs that we create our own reality and there is no wrong or right and everything is permissible. It's a very liberal.
But the issue is that means there was a trick in that movie. There were some serious professors.
Yeah, she uses scientists. She deceived the scientists to go talk in the movie. She didn't say that she is a cult leader. She just said they were free to talk about their own opinions on quantum mechanics. And they were totally deceived because after they saw that, they noticed that their words were put totally out of the context that they mean.
But couldn't they sue? Couldn't they stop the
No,
release?
because I think they signed the contract. She deceived the scientists.
They signed the release
I
form.
think they signed it, and she deceived
But
them.
still, if they sign the release form, there is misrepresentation, then there's no meeting of the minds. In order to be a contract be legally binding, there must be meeting of the minds. If there is deception of misuse of that agreement, then they can rescind, they can sue, they can do something about
I don't
that.
think nobody sued her somehow. She has been into many court-related issues, and she always wins somehow. She's a smart person.
Yeah. And if you, Romerita was talking, this was looking at the window over there or TV.
She's on it too.
Okay, really? Okay.
She even deceived their husband to not pursue treatment for his AIDS. She claimed that she would cure him from AIDS, and he just died.
Really? And
So
I don't know about that story, but we need to also check the veracity of those stories.
Oh, I checked that. It's documented.
Okay. Now, the issue is there was no promotion of the cult in that documentary, correct? I didn't hear Atlantis. I didn't hear anything about her being reincarnation of someone.
The key is that people will get curious. That movie is usually providing consciousness-related meetings. You know the consciousness conference that is held here in Tucson every 2 years?
Really?
You ever heard about? They do that conference on consciousness.
Oh, it is scientific, correct?
It's supposed to be scientific, but it's open to all kinds of views from even religious people go there. And the Ramtus cult is represented in those kinds of conferences too. It's happening now in April 9, another conference here. I'm pretty sure that our cult is represented there. They sell our DVDs over there, and then they give a pamphlet. They don't give the movie by themselves. They use a pamphlet where people can get the parallel information on a cult. So they use scientific point of views to support our cult. That was their idea.
Okay, that means there could be indirect promotion of her. It may not mention anything about her cult, correct? Anything that those scientists may disagree, it may not be there. But her presence in major role there, together with other scientists, give her credibility, correct? That's an interesting thing, the image making. But in the very documentary, there was some also pseudo-scientific claims passed through. You were kind of hypnotized. There were some really interesting ideas. And you have heard before that the scientists talk about quantum physics, about indeterminism, about Heisenberg, and those kind of things. And then you relate, and you see these scientists are from credible universities, and it could be really deceptive. The worst lies are the lies that mix with very believable truth. And if they are carefully mixed, very carefully with tricks, if they are mixed, you can swallow them. Yes?
I was just going to say, I think that's the hardest thing for people is, I mean, to investigate to that point.
Okay.
You know, your lives are so overwhelmed with your own
Yes.
responsibilities that
I think that's...
to go that far, it's
this documentary was, I think, very successful in terms of selling pseudoscience.
Mhm.
There is a claim in a movie that said they did an experiment using 4,000 people, and they will all meditate to reduce the crime rates in a certain time. I went to check the actual reports, and that's an outright lie. The criminality, violent crime actually was raised, not diminished.
Well, even if go down, beautiful, fantastic,
You can go down
I'm glad that you
4,000
did.
people together,
But there are so many things you should just, it should raise your antenna, skeptic antenna. First of all, if crime rates go down because they thought, first of all, what was the crime rate before? What happened afterward? Or in last century, what kind of fluctuations we had in crime rate? Or in other cities, whether the crime rate went down also? Or whether there were other correlations, other causes maybe this was correlation. There were real causes, maybe the police force may be increased, correct? Or maybe the jobs became more available, correct? Could be, there are many other factors could reduce the crime rates. Or maybe there are certain things were prohibited, criminalized, and either they were not criminalized anymore, correct? Many things could be, but when they don't mention any of the things, when there is no kind of background depth comparison, then you say, wow, it's real. Well, if thought of people making those things, these people should end so many things. First of all, the claim is extraordinary claim. It just by telling us a story, it happened this way, is a kind of a news about the past, just one anecdotal stuff. Even if it happened, she says that it's not true. Even if it is true, that anecdote is not enough to justify it. Because you are claiming that the thought, without any actions, without any physical transferring this thought to the real world changes because you are thinking. And specifically about crimes, means other people's decision. And this should be tested because you are talking about physical effect of your thoughts in real world. If there is, then there are so many scientists that could be able to test the power of this. And that was one. I'm glad that you caught that one. That was a big lie. And what other we had? There are several others.
One of the Buddhist monks changing the structure.
Beautiful, the structure of water crystal. Another lie over there. They threw in. Goodness sake, why Buddhist monk is doing that? Why? All other scientists, they are stupid? Or they are so bigoted? Scientists are competing with each other to discover new things. There are different religions, different background, different motives. It will not lead to just a monk out there making up once and it is just we hear it from this news. It is a great news. It will be a new chapter in your physics books. This will not be led to just this documentary, a monk we hear first time. Did we see it? No. Who saw it? They tell us. Why should I believe you? Because you make good sound effects, visual effects, you have money to produce? Why should I believe you? That was another lie. There is no evidence that your thinking process will change the crystal of the water, the shape of the water, the crystals. Second. Third, remember about the ship, Columbus?
The shaman.
Huh?
The shaman that couldn't see the ships because he never seen them before.
Huh?
Just because of
And then shaman, it must be shaman, this must be a storyteller, not scientist, a monk, a shaman, a stupid guy, a clergyman, an imam, a priest. Must be these kind of people because they want to sell us this. And then when he put his finger here and this person starts seeing the ship. Because they didn't see before. Couldn't say. I go to the market, I see the things I never seen before. For example, I got this one. I just came to my mind. This is cute, huh? You see? Right? And I can write like this in dark. See? Pen white. And how much is this?
Huh?
$5.
$5 what? 10?
Well,
No, but this is $1, 99 cents store. I love it.
That's Chinese then.
Chinese, but it's working well. Anyway, but we see many new things, correct? Bring a person to America, haven't seen many things like tribe. They will see the cars, they will see the skyscraper, they will see the toys that we
Like
have.
that movie, all the guys might be crazy when a bottle of Coke falls. They see it, but they don't know what it is,
Yeah.
but they still see it.
But there is some reality what they are saying. They are basically exaggerating, distorting some facts about human perception. Kind of, we have certain filtering in our perception. When we see things, we may relate to something we have seen before. If you have something that similar to that shape, and then you may liken to that one, I may liken to something else if there is this kind of. But not seen at all, it's absolutely lie. We see things even we don't see, otherwise we will not see anything. Because almost everything that we see first time, there is a first time that we see those things.
But do you think they mean that literally, that he actually didn't see it at all? Or that was
They were
just-
saying actually, yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't see the ships. There is a test, I'm not sure how accurate, but makes sense for me. The test done on some tribes, they are not exposed to
indigenous?
to our schools. They show them certain lines, like parallel lines and little slant.
They are not good looking at perspective.
Exactly,
Perspective-
and they didn't see as a three-dimensional, but when they show us that, we see, oh, these are stairs. Our perception constructed as stairs because we have seen stairs. If they didn't see stairs or they don't have this kind of
Experience.
abstraction experience of symbolizing three-dimensional things with lines, with pictures, they see it as a two-dimension. They didn't see the depth of that. That's possible, I do understand. But of course, because we know it that we add extra as three-dimension to that one. This is known by us and it is not really such an extraordinary claim. Okay, that's good. Therefore, my suggestion for you, if you are watching something like that, or a movie, you are very impressed by it. The more you are impressed by it, the more you become a little bit cautious. Because sometimes in it, there will be some wrong statements, you will get that one.
I was totally gobsmacked at that movie. That's why I went to search more. That
Beautiful.
was so amazing.
And I'm surprised that not all of you did check, because you should have done what Romerita did. Go check it and be curious about it, because how many of you were impressed by this movie? I thought everyone was watching, no one falling asleep. Huh?
I was
I've already seen
What did you say?
I've already seen it.
You have seen it, and how is your impression? Did you notice this problem with that movie?
Yeah.
Did
I've talked about it before, so I didn't really.
Okay. But still, I thought it.
I didn't look it up, and to be honest with you, I mean, you're watching the movie and you can see what they're trying to get across. I mean, I'm not really interested in quantum physics, so that's kind of seemed like what they were trying to push and just trying to explain. And you know, it's a movie, so there's going to be theatrics and then try to get their point across. So not everything's going to be true. And it didn't feel like a documentary either. It felt like almost like a commercial.
Yeah.
No, I think it was very successful in terms
It
of
was smart.
quantum physics. The information was given very interesting and very crazy about multi-universe. The idea of multi-universe. It comes from string theory, and string theory comes from scientist attempt, and this has been long-term attempt trying to unify the laws in the universe. There are 4 forces in the universe. It's called what? One of them is strong force,
The weak force.
the weak force, strong force inside the atom, the
Electromagnetic.
electromagnetic force, weak force, and then gravity. These are 4 forces. They wanted to unify them. It's called unification theory. And unify them means they think that they were all these 4 forces, they emanated from one force in singularity from Big Bang. Therefore, they unified and mathematically be able to express all of them and generate these forces from one formula, from one concept, has been a big challenge for scientists. And some scientists physicists got Nobel Prize you call it? Not Nobel. Nobel Prize because of their success unifying 3 of them. But gravity is the trouble kit. Trouble force is very difficult to put them together. And the gravity, in fact, is the weakest of all.
Yeah, I've seen that on the documentary.
Very little power it has. Gravity, imagine this huge desk, how much gravity it has, pulling you and stuff. It's not even perceivable by us. Though it is the weakest force, but it is the most dominant in the universe because of the aggregate atoms, cluster of stars and galaxies, it becomes the most dominant force. But somehow it is difficult to put gravity in that one. Therefore, they thought gravity maybe is a link bridge to other universes like tunnel. What's called the
Time warp.
Time warps.
Wormholes.
Yeah, wormholes.
That's
Fantastic. And then, in order to create a mathematical model to explain these things, unify them, they came up with string theory. Everything made of string, very kind of, their existence basically is so debatable, even much smaller than atoms. And then the string theory, in order to support string theory, they had to come up with multi-universes. Some of them come up with 11 universes, Catherine, be with us. And some of them came up with infinite number of universes. Every second, every moment, new universes come about. Very crazy idea.
That was formulated by that guy named Brian Greene. He did the Elegant Universe book. I haven't read it. I meant to read it. I think it's...
The Elegant Universe. Yeah, I have that book. I'm not sure whether I read
you
it or
read
not. Yeah.
It talks about the multiverse.
Okay, today's topic. Let's come to today's topic. Is what? Religion, God, metaphysics. And how many of you believe in God? Raise your hands. I want to see those hands. Okay, we have...
What God are you talking about?
Well,
That's
God,
the problem that I have with
don't ask too many questions. What is this? Oh my gosh, your drink is this much? Okay, you are... What? Troy?
You believe in God?
I believe in the possibility that is very much used.
Possibility of God. What about you, Masha?
I'm very ignorant, and I do not believe in
Oh gosh. Leanne?
I'm undecided. I don't adhere to any of the
What is called the undecided?
agnostic.
Agnostic.
But it's not even exactly agnostic because I do have some idea of a belief. It just doesn't adhere to any of the major religions, any of the major world religions.
Okay.
It's not agnostic.
Okay. Bob. Okay.
I guess I could say I believe, but then it's so easy to poke holes at it because every religion has certain structure and that doesn't apply for everybody. So I guess I'm going to decide, not undecided, I don't believe in the projection that we give God. You know, I don't believe in what we label him as. I believe there's a higher power. So absolutely.
Joe?
Yeah, my thing is religion can't explain God. Religion is a man-made thing. It's a man-made order that we have placed. There's laws that we've placed to order people, some good, some bad. But God does exist. I believe in the God of the Bible. I believe there are absolutes, there are facts to prove that he created the universe and in those things. So I just want to, for me, I kind of want to just displace that, let's put away religion, because religion isn't what's going to lead us to God. And personally, I believe that the God of the Bible and those things.
So you don't think the Bible is also a human creation?
No, I think that's what he was saying.
I believe that humans wrote it, but it is inspired by God, and I can prove that.
How do you prove it?
Prophecy.
How do you prove the prophecy?
There are over 400 prophecies already that have been fulfilled completely, step by step. Two of the biggest ones that come to mind in Isaiah and I believe Psalms in the Old Testament. They talk about a crucified man. Now, this crucified man, they gave details, step by step on crucifixion. And the crazy thing about this is this was 400 or 500 years before crucifixion was ever invented by man. Another big prophecy is the Bible talks
Maybe
about.
the humans trying to fulfill the prophecy just for the sake of fulfilling.
And see, a lot of people have tested that, and a lot of people have thought that.
But
We've gone back.
I would say too, just as the humans fulfill the prophecies of science, you have to see it. You have to see it that way because it's an imagination. That's how we define it through math. You have almost a religion through science and through science fiction and imagination. I mean, look at where it started at, and look at where it's at. We have created those things, but it was all a belief that there's something else out there. There's still 73% of what we can't explain. That's a lot.
Okay, can you, it is interesting. Now, here is what he's saying. He says there are prophecies in the Old Testament, correct?
And the New Testament.
And New Testament. And
Oh, gotcha.
the prophecies in Old Testament, I would be more interested in the prophecies in Old Testament than in New
Yeah,
Testament.
most of the Old Testament ones have been fulfilled.
Yeah, and he says there will be someone crucified.
Psalms and Isaiah.
Psalms Isaiah is talk about someone who will be crucified. That person will be Messiah, something like that. Okay, that would be interesting because he was not crucified by his people, by his followers, correct? He was crucified by the enemies, but therefore we cannot say his crucifixion was staged.
That's just a correlation. It's not a cause effect. You cannot point out that the prophecy, there is just a correlation, like just a coincidence.
And sorry,
Go ahead, no,
I
go
just
ahead.
want because I just heard about that. They tested how Jesus' crucifixion could be a coincidence. It's 1 in 10 trillion. Trillion.
There are many people
They
that were
tested on all
crucified.
prophecies that prophesied on Jesus, a crucified Messiah. They tested how this could actually be just a coincidence.
But how many people were in all reality crucified?
There were
There
many
were
people
many.
crucified.
There were
Not
hundreds.
Martin
just
Luther King was
Jesus.
crucified.
I mean, I'm not
But
trying
to see to show that
Yeah,
how
it's
Jesus
suspect.
met every single crucifixion, a crucified Messiah wasn't the only prophecy that was fulfilled. His birth, that was prophecy fulfilled. this whole week that, as Christians call Passion Week, there were many prophecies fulfilled just in this week that we kind of reflect on this thing. Him, you guys know the famous scene of him riding on a donkey and the palms. The Old Testament talks about Messiah using a baby donkey to ride into the crowd, and those actually exact trees being swayed back and forth. There's actually
But this is description of people who believe in that. This is the stories. Let me tell you what a skeptic would say. This is told by believers, this story of fulfillment of the thing, correct? Now, if they see certain biblical verses needs to be fulfilled, they could make up easily a story, Jesus riding a donkey. Or if Jesus believed that he needs to fulfill some of those things to show that he's the Messiah, instead of horse, he can use the donkey, and here it is me. Therefore, this is not really difficult to fulfill. Either himself choosing that mode, which is not really extraordinary to find donkey, entering the city.
Many people riding donkeys in that time.
Yes.
He's not the only one.
The issue is, and also some people purport that the believers wanted to fit Jesus to the Old Testament, certain verses of the Old Testament. They made up stories, for example, descendant of David. And they made 14 and different lists of genealogy and different things in order to make, and they skipped some and they made up some in order to make it 14, 14, 14. Do you understand? And therefore, if there is believers, they want to make fit, there are so many verses in the Old Testament, you to try to kind of fit someone, you can make even me fit some of those verses. When I claim that,
I have ridden a
because
donkey before.
I'm not saying
It's not a donkey, it's that specific. I mean, that's just one of the small little things that I just happened to
Good.
kind of pop in my head. But it was that specific kind of donkey. I wish I knew exactly. I mean, that's not really a huge deal. I'm not basing my belief that there's a creator of the universe on a donkey.
Donkey!
Okay, I'm just pointing out that there are many things that are proven just in prophecy alone that there's no possible way that they could have been just a coincidence.
Okay.
And quickly, I just want to kind of put the weight on Scripture. There are over 24,000 manuscripts and autographs. If you guys know much about manuscripts and stuff, 24,000 manuscripts. That's more than any historical document. The only closest document to the weight that Scripture carries and the proof that it carries is Homer, which is I think about 6,000 manuscripts. So we're looking at the most manuscripts, most autographs in all of historical documents. Yet we look at Caesar, which I think we have about six historical documents of the life of Caesar, and we never ever question that Julius Caesar was.
I think we don't question that because Julius Caesar is not, it's the tie that you have with God.
But you got to look at the manuscript.
Oh,
and that's what I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah,
whether you
no.
believe in Jesus or not, you got to show that there's way.
I believe that he is real because enough people believe him to be real, so that's real.
Jesus of Nazareth, absolutely.
It was funny, I was talking to him.
Actually a man in
Mhm.
Nazareth.
I was talking to my son and he was asking me if Santa Claus was real. He's 9 years old now, but I told him, yeah, he's real. So we're going through this whole thing, we all know he's fake.
Okay, Joe, my suggestion to you, and sorry I came a little bit kind of forceful towards your claims, and because skeptics will question many things. What I want you, if you would like, next class, come up with these prophecies. I think it will be, listen carefully, I think if there is any proof, that will be proof for Jesus being a messenger of God or whatever he claims to be. And therefore, if you have a PowerPoint presentation,
If you want something to be right, you figure it out.
and Bobby,
Oh, sorry.
and show us the verses in the Old Testament, and I have at home some Bible versions, they may not be exactly the same, I can bring some, or you could bring some. There are small ones, once I had several of them, they gave me and I couldn't reject. And therefore, we can bring and we can look at that because First of all, I would like to have the Old Testament that Jewish people follow, believe. That would be interesting, important, because Jewish people, most of them, rejected Jesus. Or now they believe in the Old Testament, but they reject. Now, using their own book, here is this prophecy there in Psalms or in Exodus or whatever there, and here that is indicating Jesus, not one, not two, not three. These many prophecies cannot be just coincidence. And I think it will be a great argument if you come up with that, and then we can discuss afterwards. We could have Bibles in our hand and look at those. Because there is one issue could be how much interpretation you put on it. Because based on Nostradamus' statements, they are kind of flexible, and by choosing and arbitrary assigning to this, there are so many, and almost any event you can relate to some of them.
But
Talks about wars.
Couldn't you even say that Nostradamus, he was just good at patterns? He could just, you know, he could see in the future how the pattern was going to go because society then and the society before him.
Yeah, there are repeating patterns. There are wars, there are kings, there are good people, bad people. There are always disasters going on, right? Therefore, there are so much common things. But there's also the language can be some ambiguity in language, and that ambiguity could be filtered and interpreted for a particular thing. But when I look at what Jesus is not just any person, his message changed the world. And therefore, it is more, if there was any guy kind of no one cares and didn't do anything, there's some prophecy, but it will not be as significant as someone who changed the world. Correct? Therefore, it will be more reasonable to have, if there is prophecy, wow, I could say wow. Therefore, I think that...
I just have a question, because I actually have to do my book presentation next week as well.
Okay.
Do you want me to kind of put that one aside? And
Yeah, you have another presentation.
Okay.
If you want, I would like you, because in this class you haven't spoken much.
yeah,
And I am very kind of, I don't know, I'm happy that you are able to talk, and you should be.
yeah, it's something I'm really passionate about.
Your guys' chapter is on religion. Is this chapter?
Well, the one that the presentation I'm actually doing is the problem with evil.
Okay, let's give this is important with with this topic.
Okay.
And I hope that you will convince Romerita, and Romerita will become a newborn Christian.
I don't want to convince you of anything, so you don't have to convince me.
Well, the purpose of this class not to convert anyone. Don't misunderstand. I'm just joking.
Understand.
But Romerita will be perhaps very loud critic of you. I mean, prepare according to.
Well, I should prepare myself too, because I don't know all the prophecies that you know. You know a lot more prophecies.
Yeah, no, what I want to do is I just want to show you the facts.
There is Jim Lippert. He was at University of Arizona. I think he finished philosophy. Jim Lippert. He's a skeptic. He has written many articles on these prophecies. And I want you to even check those if you can. Jim Lippert, write down. He graduated from University of Arizona. He's a well-known skeptic. He has written many articles. He has a website. And Jim Lippert was publishing a kind of newsletter, skeptic, on Bible. And he had dealt with those prophecies and tried to check those ones. And if you can respond to some of those criticisms, that will be fantastic. Okay?
I will do my best. Yeah.
Great. Okay, go
Can we
ahead.
take a break?
Yes, that will be fantastic. Yes.